I found a clip from 2018 and it's an absolute gem.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Petrie for his question. The Turnbull government is implementing the plan that we took to the last election to grow the Australian economy that is seeing hundreds of thousands of Australians get off welfare and get into work. More than 950,000 jobs have been created under the coalition government. And what this government is building is a working nation, and what Labor wants to build is a welfare nation, Mr Speaker. That's the difference between the Labor Party and the Liberal and National parties, Mr Speaker. We're about seeing people get into jobs and create and build their own destiny. Now, Mr Speaker, we also welcome today the further news about the increased confidence and conditions that we're seeing in business, and we welcome those, Mr Speaker. But we do know this, that if you make business through higher taxes pay more money to the government, it makes them harder to pay higher wages to Australian workers. And that's why the Labor Party's opposition to us lowering taxes mean the Labor Party is standing between Australian workers and an increase in their wages.
Now that was awful for the time and aged terribly. Now just to highlight how awful what he said was, I put together a couple of news clips just to show how things have gone since he's become Prime Minister. Oh, I know I wasn't watching Question Time from a couple years ago. I found this because he posted it himself.
JobKEEPER was meant to help struggling businesses and workers survive the pandemic, not line the pockets of the wealthiest Australians.
I don't think you need government handouts if you've got enough money to pay a multi-million-dollar bonus to your CEO.
Since its March launch, nearly 1 million businesses supporting over 3 million employees have taken $77 billion in JobKEEPER payments. After strong profits, Super Retail Group has voluntarily returned $1.7 million and Toyota $18 million.
It's just a sense of moral duty, it's the right thing to do. Secondly, for employee pride.
But they stand out in a crowd of companies which have pocketed taxpayers' money, rewarding management with hefty bonuses and shareholders with multi-million-dollar dividends.
It's not a time to be handing money out to millionaire CEOs and billionaire shareholders.
In other countries, including New Zealand, all businesses receiving wage support are listed in a public database. Australia has no such record.
While the businesses have acted lawfully, calls are mounting for those who've delivered bumper profits in recent months to also act ethically by returning the subsidies.
There is a little bit of a PR halo that goes along with deeds such as this.
But the government says it will not ask for the money back.
But businesses don't have an obligation to pay back JobKEEPER. That is a matter for those individual businesses as they see fit.
Gemma Acton, 7 News.
Businesses don't have an obligation to pay back JobKEEPer. That is a matter for those individual businesses as they see fit.
Gemma Acton, 7 News.
Payments were cut to recipients more than 2 million times in the past year as the government cracks down on people trying to abuse the system. Let's go live to our Canberra reporter, political reporter Kerry Yaxley with us this morning. Kerry, these suspensions, why have they been imposed?
Well, Deb, for a range of reasons. Interestingly, these figures have emerged amid growing pressure on the coalition to increase the rate of Newstart. That pressure coming from economists, politicians across the divide and even from within the government's own ranks. The numbers reported in the Daily Telegraph newspaper show almost 80% of those taking part in the Job Active program have had their payments suspended at least once. 60,000 have had their payments temporarily stopped more than once in the 2018-19 financial year. Payments are cancelled for those who are deemed able to work but who don't search for jobs, attend job interviews, who miss their appointments with Centrelink or behave inappropriately. The Employment Minister, Michaelia Cash, says repeat offenders are not living up to taxpayers' standards. Welfare groups, however, argue that Newstart is so low that it leaves some recipients unable to afford things like petrol to get to a job interview. It's $550 a fortnight. It hasn't risen, Deb, in real terms in 25 years. There will be a Senate inquiry into the rate, but the government is showing no signs of budging at this point.
400,000 Australians who are victims of the government's RoboDebt scheme will receive compensation following the country's biggest settlement in class action history. The RoboDebt scheme used income averaging data from the tax office to automatically calculate welfare debts and incorrectly told people they'd been overpaid by Centrelink. The scheme was found to be unlawful, with the settlement worth $1.2 billion. Now, Labor is calling for a royal commission. Kathleen Madgwick's son Jared took his own life 2 hours after receiving a RoboDebt email claiming he owed $2,000. She joins me now. Kathleen, really appreciate your time. So sorry for your loss. What has the emotional toll been on your family from this disaster?
Oh, it's immeasurable. You know, there's never any happiness. You know, life goes on, but happiness is diminished for me and our family. We think about Jared every day, and I still cry every day. It's surreal, Koshi, and with Jared, his wasn't average, but he, you know, the whole system, the whole compliance system, it needs an overhaul.
I think what you mean by RoboDebt is compliance per se. Is that what you mean by RoboDebt?
No, I think everybody pretty well understands what RoboDebt is.
I'm sorry, Chair, I don't know what RoboDebt means.
That is an extraordinary admission at this point,
because in the
Campbell. People have died over RoboDebt and you don't even
Senator,
acknowledge the
Chair,
word.
I do not accept those assertions that are being made. They are not correct.
Your staff have
This
said
is
it.
difficult. It's alleged that the staff... These are staff. This was a letter from the union. We accept that. We've talked about that. But I do not think it's appropriate that... No, I do not accept people have died over RoboDebt.
You do not?
I do not accept
Well, I'm
that.
sure the families of those who died and committed suicide will be very, very unhappy with your answer today.
No, I don't know what RoboDebt means. No, I do not accept people have died over RoboDebt.
You do not?
I don't know what RoboDebt means. I do not accept people have died over RoboDebt.